Alright, so this is the last section of my Wolfpack Tactics list, and these are my deep striking and outflanking melt. So obviously throughout the list, if you've been paying attention, you haven't seen it. Like any real melta. I mean, you got the melta bombs on the Thunderbolts, but that's obviously not going to be enough. So we've got a meltagun in a 10-man squad, or well, it's a 9-man squad of Grey Hunters, and a 10th member for the Wolf Guard, who's got a combi melta and a thunder hammer. Now, these all go in a drop pod, and they've got the Wolf Standard, see in the back there. And the whole point of this unit is to turn one, get something in my opponent's face, and to hopefully take out one tough tank. Oh, they also have power fist power. And to hopefully take out one enemy tank. Now, if we can't do that, for example, if the opportunity doesn't present itself, like if he's got a Land Raider and it's surrounded by dudes, then their whole purpose in life is to suddenly entrench themselves somewhere, and somewhere in my opponent's side of the field and survive. That's their whole goal in life. Not to do with a lot of damage, but to then survive. So if, for example, my opponent does have a Land Raider exposed, though, these guys are there to suicide themselves and to kill them. So then why have a 10-man unit? Why not just have a 5-man unit? You know, you can throw the meltagun and the combi melta and all that stuff. Well, 10 Space Marines against my opponent's entire enemy army doing their thing. Honestly, it's not ideal, but they can survive a bit more than you think. And I want them to try to, I want my enemy to focus on these guys. I want them to have to try to kill them so that the rest of my army can advance. So the rest of my army can be a little bit safer than they were before. And because the rest of my army, you know, they're foot slogging close combat. It's going to be a minute before they can get there. So by deep striking here and hopefully taking advantage of somewhere that isn't incredibly vulnerable, we're able to, you know, survive a bit more. Hopefully we'll be able to take out an enemy tank or two in their lifespan. But really these guys are just here to be a nuisance, to show up in the enemy's face and to create pockets. And then aiding them we have an outflanking squad of 5 Wolf Scouts with meltagun, nothing else. So Wolf Scouts with melta, they've got the behind enemy line special rule, which means that they can, on a 1 or a 2, they come in. If it's a 1 on the left hand table side, if it's a 2 on the right hand table side, at 3, 4, 5, or 6, you get a pick, including the enemy's table edge. And with acute senses, they get to reroll. So guess what? I think 85% of the time they get to come in on the table edge that I want, which is going to be amazing. So what we do with that is hopefully we'll get some rear armor on an enemy artillery piece or something. Now, when you combine these guys coming in on turn 2 with the Wolf Guard unit that was the first video coming in on turn 2 as well, hopefully, then they're already trying to deal with this. That's how the center, the core of my army is able to advance. Hopefully a little bit more freely. Keep in mind this is only 1,500 points, so, you know, these guys, while yes, they can kill tanks, you're going to have to dedicate something to kill them that you're, like, trying to dedicate stuff to kill these guys, and you're trying to focus on the front, and then all of a sudden you got Wolf Guard coming in with storm shields and combi plasmas, and they're just, like, blowing the pants off you, and that sounded dirty. So, yeah, the point is that you just got a lot of stuff to deal with, and then hopefully you're focusing on all that, and then my core shows up, and then it's like, well, F. These guys are really simple, straightforward guys. You know, I try to keep these guys in close proximity or really far apart. You know, if my opponent's really spread out, you know, and then I like to keep them together. And the point is that then together they can work together to kill stuff, and eventually work their way across the table with, you know, the rest of my army. If my opponent's really clustered, then I'll spread out, because then what he has to do is he has to focus, you know, like, what unit do I attack? You know, he's got to dedicate towards one, and then, you know, there's really kind of no right answer. You know, because these guys are just going to evaporate, and then these guys are pretty tough, so, you know, you really got to make your choices. Real quick to talk about this wolf skull here, I carved it out of green stuff. I mean, I know it's not gorgeous, but I think it's cool, and it definitely labels this as a Space Wolf drop pod. I was inspired by the Codex picture for the drop pod, and yeah. In hindsight, that's also green stuff behind it that makes like that awful diamond that is not even. In hindsight, I should use plastic card for that, and I think in the future, whenever I do anything like that, I'm going to use plastic card to make the plaque for it, if you will. But anyway, also this banner, green stuff, I should have left the pole showing on the, towards the left-hand side, rather than covering it with the green stuff. Hindsight's 2020. I lost all my transfers, like the transfer sheets, and what I'd like to do is get a wolf, one of those little wolf transfers and put that on there, and hopefully that'll look good. But I lost them all, so I'm going to have to wait till I buy another unit of Space Wolves. It's probably going to be a while, actually, unfortunately. So, for now, it's a blank banner. And, yeah. So, next up, we're going to do a video on the whole army and how to really utilize everything. We're just going to do one overview, wrap it up, and that's that.